So now we can actually go and start creating our project. As I've mentioned, you do it in the command line. Let's go to my work and into my sources, and here I will create. Okay, I think, yeah, I will create a new project. So again, Flutter, create new Flutter project 2. Yeah, so just for memory, this is how you create a new project. As I said, all lower cases, underscores, and you should be fine. You see a lot of files created here. Some of them are for Mac OS, or sorry, for iOS. So you can see the runner here folder. And now what I'm going to do is to get a Visual Studio Code. Now, you probably downloaded Visual Studio Code, or you didn't. Do you have? Does anyone not have Visual Studio Code installed? Yeah, if you don't have it, then you just search it, right?
Do you want me to share?
Okay, so download. I have for Windows. You will have for Macs, and so on. You download this thing, and it's simple. It's a executable in your downloads folder. You double click it. Do I have it here somewhere? Yeah, Visual Studio Code. It looks like this. If you double click it, you install, and the first time you install, you go to this nice place, which is called extensions. And as Jason was pointing out, actually you need a plugin as well. Yeah, so you select Flutter and you do install. I have an uninstall and disable because mine is installed. It also installs Dart automatically for you. So that's it. Now, so this is Visual Studio Code, and normally when Visual Studio Code starts, it actually tells you something like, yeah, open folder to go to your first place. Any more things on the chat? Okay, that's not for me. Okay, so open folder, and we go and select our projects, right? So we select this project. pubspec YAML is the file which defines your project. It is all nicely defined here. You have all these explanations here for what these parameters mean. What is important in YAML file is that you have to keep the indentation correctly. So indentation is always 2 spaces and you do something. So essentially, if I add here 1 space, this won't be correct YAML file. So indentation here is paramount. You have to keep it as it is and you know, organize. You have these tiny gray lines to help you with it, so it doesn't get you know, it's easier to actually keep this in order. So what you see here is the name of the project, description, publish. We don't publish yet. Versions, environment. Now the dependencies, so Flutter, the SDK itself. We have a Cupertino icons, which are iOS icons, but we don't really use it. There are some assets which are commented out. We don't use them. Assets are essentially like a static file, binary files, maybe sounds, maybe maybe pictures, vectors. that allow you would like to use in your application later on, and so on. So this is a very basic thing. Now, these other files here are created. This file is created. You don't touch it. You don't do anything. This one is for Git Ignore already, to like essentially ignore the folders which shouldn't be committed to the Git when you start to use Git. And now you see the project's folders. So test, this is where your test will be. We won't look at it yet. We have two wrappers, Android and iOS. So we've seen before the one for Android. So the app, the Gradle file, some sources. We don't care about it because we won't be touching it. And this is our entire Flutter app. So again, you see a lot of comments. So yeah, I'm gonna try to remove the comments because I really get lost in them. So I'm gonna try to use my. This is something. No, actually, if I will be, no, I won't be able to do this here. I believe. Don't try this because it may fail. No, it didn't work. Okay. I've tried to essentially remove all the comments from it, but they are very annoying and actually they obscure what is in it. So this is the main application, main Dart file which start the application. You see the run app. This is the command which runs your application. This is your application. Flutter application consists of widgets. There are plenty of them. There are different shapes and sizes and different functions. But everything in the end is a widget. So essentially, if you want to create something new, some new button, some new screen, it always will be some kind of widget you're creating. And my application itself is also a widget. So it's like this, Russian baby doll that you have one inside another, and that's what it is. So another thing important in the widget is the build command method. The build method is the method which should return what this widget should look like or do, essentially what it should look like, regardless of what is currently on the screen. The way the Flutters will work is that it will constantly run this build method when it has to redraw the application and check what it returns. And what it returns is some kind of widget. So material app is a widget, which has other widgets, like for example, it has this homepage widget, which does some other stuff. So you see, it's always widget within a widget, and this is why Flutter is so easy to essentially grasp, is because you only have to figure out what to put inside this method to represent to show on the screen what you want to represent. There are no other ways of finding some places in the UI. So you always like create a snapshot of what you want to have, and this should actually show on the screen. You don't care about anything else. The render engine should actually do it for you. So what you see here is that you have a material app, and this is what will turn the widget to look like a material app. Material is a design language for Androids, not only for Android, but it's created by Google. So we're gonna stick with this one. It says that primary swatch is blue, and then it says home, and home is essentially a child of this widget, which will be hosted. So essentially, this widget defines the theme in which you will actually, show something, and this one, this widget will render something in this theme. So you see, this is the common pattern. There will be always some widget hosting specific data for something that other widgets down the tree will use. So what you see here is, okay, this is the widget. This is how it is defined. This is the class. and it takes some parameter called title, and we will now look into this. We'll look into this my home page. So it says stateful widget, and what it means, what is different from the stateless. The stateless widget has a build command, and this returns how the widget should look like, which means that the application will run it once, and it returns this, widget, which is material app, and it considers it done. So if you want to do any change for the stateless widget, you have to essentially have completely new instance with a new parameter coming to actually do it. Stateful widget, on the other hand, it doesn't have a build command, but what it has is the create state command, which essentially creates some state. And what the state has a build method, which again does the widget. So what does it really mean? That this means that effectively all the widgets are like immutable in Flutter, but some of them have a state which can be mutable, which means it can change and represent something else. So my widget, the home page widget, won't change much, but when my state will change, it will run the build command, and it will essentially rebuild this scaffold, up bar, text, center, column, and so on every time the state has changed. So, okay, the question is, what is the state? State is all the data that you want to have in your app, which will gonna essentially changes its value over time, and you would like to signify this in some in some reaction on the screen that actually show that the state has changed. And for doing this, the state class has a method called setState, and this method takes another method as a parameter, and every time you will run the setState with this method, something will happen. Like, for example, here the counter will be increased, and when the counter is increased, also after this method executes, after what it happens, this build method is run again with a new state. So let's see what is happening here. Let's delete all these comments, and I will explain you how the Flutter works here. And we will try to run it. Yeah, pretty.
So, Suave, do you want people to follow along as well, make the same changes as you? Yeah.
Yeah, please do. Yeah, please do edit these files, remove the comments, and now now the important part. So let's so let's explain what this state actually will have. One thing of notice, look that here the widget has, when it has fields like this one, title, which is passed from the parameter of the constructor, it has a keyword final here, which means it cannot change. Once it's set, it won't change. This is something called immutable. So you set it once and it will stay there forever. So if you want to have a my home page with a different title, you have to create a new instance of a my home page and pass a different title. There's no other way to change the title. But as we said, we want to have something which is changing. So this is the state. And now in the state, we have only just int, which is integer, the number.
Suave, can we play? Can we play? Can we play?
I don't know if we can play because
can we
have
play? We want to
emulator.
play. Let's change some stuff. Let's change some stuff. Come on, Suave.
I need to plug my phone or start or create an emulator for this on this one. Yes, this is why I was thinking about jumping to my MacBook Android Studio. Let me quickly check if I have emulators here. If not, then I'm gonna jump on my MacBook Pro, okay? Because I believe I was using this only for my, no devices. Let's quickly check. Create a new device. Yeah, let's get Pixel.
Yeah, it'll work. It'll work.
Whoa, I need to download.
It should be quick.
Okay, should be. Depends on your connection. So okay, let it download.
Hey, Suave, just a quick
Yeah.
one. I noticed you're switching a lot between Android Studio and Visual Studio. Maybe you
Yes.
want to explain to all the folks at home why that is and what's the difference between the two.
So I like to keep Android Studio for Android, Xcode for iOS, and Visual Studio Code for Flutter. And the reason for this is that even if you are in Android Studio, I cannot show you currently now because I'm downloading. Essentially, you cannot have a like two perspective in Android Studio to have a Flutter project and then the second one to have an Android project. So I'm using the separate IDEs if I want to essentially tweak something in Android wrapper and Xcode for iOS wrapper, and then Visual Studio Code. This is one. So I'm simply alt tabbing through these three, IDEs, and my work setup is essentially my laptop plus two monitors, and I have a Visual Studio here in the front, Android Studio, Xcode, and I'm happy. Right. So, but you can simulate this by simply jumping between them, and this is why you do this a lot. But most of your work happens here, right? Most of your work will happen in the Visual Studio Code. So yeah, it is downloading, but yeah, it's gonna take a while.
It's gonna take a while. Can
yeah,
you?
Unfortunately,
Do you want me to share? And I don't know if it will work.
Yes.
Can I share and you talk? Yeah. Let me join again.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have.
You can show your sample. Yeah, you can show your sample.
Let me join the meeting again.
If you try to run this app as it is right now on your emulator. Whoops. Okay. So now you have some state already. So yeah. So what you see here is that every time Jason will push the plus button, it will change the state, and because we run this counter plus plus method inside the set state, it will force Flutter to refresh the widget with a new value of the state. So this means that this part of the you have been pushed so many times, and counter will be the counter will be updated. Yeah. So this is what it does. Let me see. Yeah. So this is what I wanted to show actually on running this. So I'm gonna take back the sharing. Jason, we can't hear you, by the way. So probably you don't have a mic on your Windows.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
hear me
we
now?
can hear you.
All right, good. Right, so what do you want me to change, Suave? Or are you taking back control?
I'm almost there with installing hacks for my
Okay.
sorry for that. I was using something called screen copy, SRCP, which essentially shares the mobile phone, but it stopped working.
So
So-
Suave, if I was to change,
Yeah.
so if I was to change this text here, what would happen? If I was to change,
Yeah, you can change this text, and now you have to reload.
and how do I read?
But you've changed this in your. Did you run this from your Android Studio?
No, I ran it from here. I ran it from here, from my terminal.
No, you won't. You are not running this in your terminal. Probably Visual Studio Code or something. Or this app already runs by itself, and it's I think you haven't compiled it.
Okay.
This is
so
old. This is the old app. So if you
so
so if you do Flutter, Flutter run.
Yeah.
Yeah, please do Flutter run.
Yeah.
So it's gonna compile this. It may lose the state.
Which is fine. Which is fine. But I just want to show people that actually, if you change it here, and you run it, it will change what it's displaying. Yeah. So hopefully that text should change. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So the text
And then
will
we can do,
change. The text
and then we
will
can
change,
do,
but it's the whole point of this is that you run your application constantly, and you're changing this text, and then you hot reload the application, and this hot reload is almost instant. It's around less than 1 second. So you can very quickly do the changes and see how they are actually appearing. So did it finish?
No, it's still running. My
running.
Windows machine is much slower than my Mac.
Yeah, I should be. Oh, I can see my emulator running.
Oh, good.
Yes.
You can take control then.
Yeah, I can take over. So yes, I'm taking over. Share screen. Yay. So that's my new acquired emulator. And this is Android Studio I don't need for anything. And I don't need this either. And now I'm gonna try to run this application so I can start debugging. Launching. I wonder if it's gonna actually run, because I'm doing this for the first time on this emulator and I haven't downloaded any dependencies for it. So strange things may happen. But yeah, I think it's building something. So we are.
Yes, so mine is up now, and then if I press R, will it just hot reload? Yeah.
Yeah. So this is what is confusing. Currently, Android emulator keeps the state of the application. So essentially, the moment you terminate it, you press the X, it like screenshots entire system. And so if you had an app on it, it will gonna stay in the way it was there. So when you bring your emulator back, your app is already running, but it is actually the previous app you run yesterday or whatever. It's not the new run. So you have to stop this app, start it again, and have it essentially fresh one. Because what you want to get is that there is a direct connection between your IDE and debug bridge and the emulator. So it can control the app and upload these changes as you're doing them in the code, so you can see the results directly on the screen. So my Gradle task is running. So you see it is essentially building the Android application. it says the running Gradle task assemble debug. Assemble debug is the target for building Android applications. So now it is essentially fetching all the, okay, it finished. It says build output. This is what it created APK. And this APK, never ask. I don't want to see it. Okay, for now. So you see, now I have a console here showing me what is happening inside the application. And I press this. Actually, it doesn't show anything here on the console right now because I don't really print anything to the console. But you can see I'm changing the state by adding plus. So just back to the code to explain what is really happening. Our floating button is this, and on pressed. So this is the parameter of this floating button. So when you press it, run this method. The underscore signifies here that this is private member. This means that essentially this method can be used anywhere outside the class. This is our method. And our method says set state. And inside this, there is another unnamed method, this one. It ends here. Yeah, this is the method, which essentially says increase the counter by 1. So every time I'll be pressing it, it will increase the counter. Now I'm gonna do the following. I'm gonna change this plus plus into minus minus. Yeah. And now you see that my IDE that already reloaded the code. So when I start to press the button, it starts to go down. So see, I've changed the code on the fly on the living app, and now it actually counts down to 0 or even minus. Nothing stops it. So see, now we have an app running. So just to explain it again, we have a button. It has a handler. This handler reacts on press. So the moment I press it, this is when it actually reacts. It has some child here with an icon saying add. So this is this tiny plus. I can also change it if I want to and do, let's say, AC unit. I don't know what it is. Okay, let's see it. Okay, this is AC unit. Okay, cool. It's very cool, actually. Okay, so this is this button. It starts the method. Method says set the state by decreasing the counter. So this decreases the counter, and when this method finishes, the Flutter says, okay, I have to run the build again, and it builds it again. And then when it comes to build the text fields for this, so we have 2 text fields here, one, and this is another. The one on top says you have pushed the button this many times, and the second one says put me the number of the counter here inside the string. This is how I signify that I want to use the variable counter. You see it's in blue. This is the counter. It will be printed inside the string. So every time I'm pressing and I'm refreshing the view, causing this to be rebuilt and the counter updated. So this is how it works. So my question is, how are we with time? Because I would like to go further now. And are you guys, you know, happy to go deeper into Flutter now and see some stuff, how it is created? Are you up for it?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's
okay.
go. Let's.
So
we wanna,
let's.
We want to play as well. We want to play.
So let's. Yeah. So this is, you know, it's, you know, being someone talking about Flutter is a hard job because actually it's very difficult to explain it until you actually start doing things. So let me start to do things here. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get rid of this stateful widget, this one, and create it as a stateless. Less. And now you see that it actually complains that it doesn't have a method. It doesn't have a method. It needs a method, which is the build method. And now I can essentially grab this build method from here, from my state, and this is what I'll be doing. I'm taking this entire method from the state and putting it here. Yeah, I'm getting rid of the state. I don't need the state. And now I have to do a couple of things. I have to remove my floating button. I won't need it anyway. I will remove this counter thing.
Right, Suave.
Yes.
What I want you
Yeah.
to do, Suave. What I want you
Yeah.
to do is I want you to tell the audience what feature we're adding, yeah, and why we're doing it.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to do right now is to trying to like make this sample even simpler than it is, because currently I want to have stateless widget similar to this one, which only shows the scaffold with some static text. So let's see how it looks right now. Okay, this is how it looks. It doesn't look very different, but the thing is that instead of having the stateful widget with the state, which changes, I have a stateless widget, right? So that's the first thing I will like to do here. The second thing is that, you know, I'm gonna try to build some app with a nice list that we're gonna populate with something, let's say with names, and some collapsible header, maybe, if we have time for this. And this will be, yeah, this will be actually showing how we structure the layout and, you know, what you can get from all these strange widgets here, what they really do and how to operate with them. So first thing, I'm gonna get rid of my up bar because I don't like it. So I'm removing this parameter completely from the scaffold, and you see it's gone. Nice. Yeah. Now, now I don't know. Yeah, let's do the list view here. So let's go get rid of this and do the list view. List view builder. Oh, my wife is giving foods to dogs. Momo and Flutter. These are my dogs. Yes. Okay, and there's Flutter there. Yeah. Okay. So what this will do? This will be a list. So the number of items, and this constructor. This is something called name constructor in Dart. It consumes the builder, and the builder is a method which essentially sends, I believe, context and index. I don't know if in this order. I may be wrong. And what it has to return is some widget. Yeah. So let's go and check if I'm mistaken or not, if I actually made them opposite. So I'm gonna control click on the builder, and here we go. So yeah, required parameter item builder. This is the parameter I'm actually using. So I'm gonna check it. So it takes the context and the index. Okay, so I was right. So first context, then the index, right? So here it is. The item builder is a method. So I'm essentially putting here the list, which will, every time the builder, the list view will be asked to build a new item, is going to run this method with a different index, like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, passing the context, and every time it's going to add essentially text with an A in it. I wonder if it, oh, it looks already. Can you see the A's here? Kind of small ones. Yeah, but There are A's here. You know what? Let's make it bigger. Style. Theme of context. And now text theme. Not text theme. Ouch. Text theme. And I want to have a like body one. Yeah, maybe caption, something bigger. Yeah, headline 4. Let's see. Yeah, now it's pretty. You can see now big A's, right? So now I've done Shift Alt F, and on each platform it will be different combination of keys. But essentially, check here in Command Palette where is format document. Shift Alt F on Windows. This formats documents. Now, Dart likes to have everything with a trailing commas, so it can format even better. You see, so now this is not nicely formatted. Let's add more here. Now this is nicely formatted. You start to see something I call the big V. This big V is gonna get bigger and bigger as we go forward. So you see, this is the list. And interestingly, it's unlimited. It just, you can scroll it forever until the essentially phone or emulator runs out of memory. Yes. So let's not be so hasty and set the item count like 10 and see how it looks. Okay. So here we go. We have 10 items, or maybe more. Yeah. Okay. It's more. Cool. So
can I just, Suave, can I just jump in there a bit?
Yeah.
The reason, I just want to say something functionally, yeah, because the reason why Suave is starting with a widget, which is a list, is because lists pretty much are in every single app, yeah? Every app that you can think of probably has a list in some way, shape, or form. And the reason it is because we as application developers always need to display, we always need to show lists of data, whether it be to be a to-do list or list of users or list of TV programs, which we're going to come on to later in series 3. We always need to display data. So lists are one of the most sort of, I would call one of the most well-used and generic forms in any type of language. So it's good to start off with a list. So what we're trying to do is show you, look, this is technically how you do it, but functionally, this is something that you will use a lot. So this is something that you need to bear in mind when you're building code as application developers, guys, that you will always need to use constructs like these. Yeah, sorry to jump in there. Go on, Scott.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, on this note, on the end of this session, remind me to tell you about my favorite app which doesn't have lists in it. Yeah. Okay. So we have lists, and as you can see, so every time we essentially inflate, we ask to run another element in the list, it passes another index for it. So we start with 0. We're supposed to have 12 of them, so we finish on 11th, right? And that's it. And this thing is smart enough, so when it gets bigger, it automatically scrolls. So I don't know if you can see, this is Android scroll here. I don't really like it. I like the iOS one. Scroll physics, yeah. It will be bouncing scroll physics. Can I do it like this? Yeah, now I have a like iOS. Cool. Yeah, I really don't like the Android one. So I've just copied this from iPhone and I have it. So this is bouncing scroll physics. Okay, so you know what? Let's create some data that we'll be putting into these text fields. and you know, see how can we fit it. So I'm gonna create another file, and I'm gonna call it data.dart. And this data will have a specific format. So it'll be class user, and this will be final string first name, final string last name. And as you can see, it complains. Why? Because I said final, but I'm not allowing to set it in any way. And it says final variable must be initialized. So I have to have the way to set it. So the way to essentially do something with it is this: create a constructor. So now I've created a constructor which will set these fields, and they're gonna be there. I also will make it that actually they are named constructor. This is why I'm putting this extra curly brackets. But what curly brackets also means that they are optional, and I don't want these to be optional. So I'm gonna add require annotation. It complains doesn't have it. I have to import the foundation. So here I have an import package Flutter foundation. This is when this annotation. What is annotation? Annotation is kind of like an extra metadata, extra data added to notify the compiler about the fact that something has to be checked or done. And in this case, why I don't have it? Okay. In this case, essentially, I'm saying, compiler, every time I create a user, please make sure that I pass a first and a last name. Required. Yeah, so now every time I will be trying to create a new user and I skip the field, it will say, no, this is not good. Please add something. And now I will create my data. So this will be final data, and it will be an array of users. And I'm gonna do user, and the first name will be, of course, Jason. Yeah. What's your surname?
Halstead. H-A-L.
H-A-L.
S-T-E-A-D.
E-A-D.
D. Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah. And okay, and this should be named parameter as well. So it'll be last name. Yeah, that's it. Now, what I love about Dart is that you can leave trailing commas everywhere. So I'm gonna now do a lot of JSONs inside this list because I'm pretty quick. Yeah, so I pasted the same list here, the same entry into the list, and this is my data. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to import this entire file. Import data dart, and first thing we're gonna change something here. So we're gonna add here data of index. Oh, sorry. I have to put a curly brackets here because I'll be doing essentially more complex. I won't be accessing the variables directly. I will be essentially doing some extra fiddling around. So this is why I need the data of index. So I'll be accessing the specific index. I'm gonna have the first name, and then I'm gonna do the space and do another one for data of index of last name. So what should we see? We should see first name and the last name with a space between them. Yay. Cool. Yay. So that's it. Now, there's 23 of them because we said that. I don't know if this is 23. So we're going to change the item count to be data length. Guys, do you hear the background? My wife speaking. Should I close the door? No, it's good. Okay, no. So I have a tiny mic. That's good. Yeah, I'm used to my condenser mic, which hears my neighbors speaking in the kitchen. So it's, you know, that's why I'm a bit nervous. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so now I have exactly the number of items here, which are in the data array, right? So in this data array, I don't know how many. I have from 11 to 34, so it will be like 23. 23. Oh, okay. This is why it was happening. So okay, let's do something crazy. Let's do 50. Yeah? I want to do 50. Boom. Ooh, what happened? Yeah, so range error, index, invalid. Value is not range 0 to 23, inclusive 24. So essentially, I've tried to build 24th member of the list.
But it's not.
And I looked into the data, and it's I don't have a 24th JSON. There's no more JSONs. So it didn't know what to do, and it showed me this error, right? So now I'm gonna set it back to data length. So it is precisely as the number of JSONs in the list. Cool. We have it now, this. So I feel this text is a bit too big, but you know what? There is a nice widget for adding stuff into the list. It's called list style. So I'm gonna wrap it. So what I'm going to do now, watch me very carefully. I'm doing like on the laptop, I'm doing the double tap to do the essentially right click, refactor, and now wrap with the widget. Okay. And what it does, it creates like a dummy name, so it doesn't know what widget, but it assumes that there will be a child of this widget, which is the text. And the thing is that this time actually it won't be a child, it will be something else. But yeah, list tile. Okay, it doesn't like the child. So what does it like? List. Okay, so list tile likes leading, title, subtitle, trailing. So this is essentially the widget which is usually seen in the list, like in your contact list. So it has a leading element and it has a title. Title. Now, okay. Doesn't look like much difference, but it added some padding. I also think that our body is too big. Our theme is too big, so I'm going to switch to body text 1. Yeah, that starts to look pretty okay. Maybe a bit bigger. Maybe bigger? No. It's thinner. Okay, let's keep it like this for now. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna try to create like a circular icon with initials, like you have it in your, you know, user or calendar, not a calendar,
WhatsApp.
address link or WhatsApp, whatever. Yeah. So leading, and we're gonna do text, and this text will be very funny because we'll have to do something like this, but strip the I forgot that I use Vim and I tried to, you know, do not Vim copy. It's okay. Yes, and I'm passing this inside. Yeah, so this will be the full name, but I'm gonna just get a substring from 0 to 1, I believe. I think. I'm not sure. And then substring from 0 to 1, which means give me only the substring from the string first name, which starts with 0, is 1 long, I believe. So let's check it. Start index and index. Oh, okay. So this is essentially, if I start from 1 and 2, then probably would give me the second. So it's not the length, it's actually end index. So this should give me essentially 1 character. So yeah, you have a nice initials here. You can see it. Yeah. So
Should we get rid of,
huh?
so should we get rid of the space in between?
Actually,
in between
because
A
you
and
know
H.
what? I wanna make it very fluffy. I wanna make it this circle field. Okay.
All right, go on then.
So okay, again, refactor, wrap this time with container. I'm gonna wrap it with a container, and the reason why I'm wrapping this with a container is because containers can have decorations. I think decoration, and it was circle round. No.
Suave, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
The Intellisense that you're doing, is that only available in Visual Code, or is it available also in Android Studio?
I believe so in both. I don't know to which extent, because
Okay.
they are effectively 2 different plugins.
I can tell you for sure, I've been trying to follow along with the rest of the audience. It's definitely Intellisense in Android Studio.
Yeah,
Okay.
so you know, because it is mostly based on, these suggestions are based on length, and essentially length recommendations are for a language, for a tool, for a platform, not for a tool. So essentially it inherits this from length, and it like tells you, okay, this is the int should go here, or you haven't closed the bracket, or something like that. So they should be fully supported. Yeah. Okay. I think it was shape border, maybe, or shape decoration.
I believe it's box decoration.
It should be shape decoration.
Box
decoration.
It can be, but I can have a shape, and then the shape will be a round shape. Something shape.
Come on, Jermaine.
Which one? Box
Which one,
shape?
Jermaine?
No. Let me check.
I'm familiar with the box decoration.
Shape decoration. Circle border. Circle border.
Suave. Let's try box decoration.
After this one.
All right.
Maybe color. Can I have a color here? Color X FF 0000. So this is full opaque red. Yay, very small one. Okay. What was your suggestion to do? What box decoration?
Jermaine?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's also the other approach. And
box decoration and border. Oh no, this is border radius, box shadow, border.
So you can set a color.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do color first. Color. OX F00. Ouch. 0000. And shape. Box shape circle. Yeah, it does. Does the same thing. Yeah, does the same thing. Now, it's kind of small, isn't it? Right? So you like to keep it, make it bigger. So how can I make it bigger? Again, refactor, padding. Oh no, this is outside. Refactor, remove widget. This one. Yeah. Should I padding? Yeah, I should pad the context, the contents of padding. Okay, so I've added padding, edge insets 8. Yeah, look, professional.
Wow, wow.
Yeah, yeah, we have it.
So
Good.
Jason Halstead.
So many. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So no, and as I said, you can play with it and actually figure out the proportions. You know, the way you like it. So you go with this. So
do we have
conscious
any
of time. Yeah.
Do we have any questions
Yeah.
about
Exactly.
about what we've covered and what Suave is taking you guys through?
I don't have questions now, but I know I will when I start building offline and you and Suave aren't there on hand to answer them. But I guess for the start of the next session, we can go through any troubleshooting I come across.
Yeah. So yeah, please share me your Slack. I'm gonna join, and you have any questions to me or Roberta, we can answer these questions and help you. You know, we can even pair code, you know, if with some time constraints, if it's possible, or just, you know, find you the answer straight away where to look. So yeah, no problem at all. So yeah, we've done this simple, you know, simple layout here. But I think it's still kind of bit boring. I'm gonna check. I'm gonna check something here on my other screen. Circle custom scroll. Yeah, so I was thinking about actually get crazy and change this code to use the custom scroll view, not the list view, and add slivers inside, and this will allow us to do much more with this list. So
can we do things like add a separator as well, Suave?
Yes, and question how. So that's the thing, that I would have to essentially modify this method here to return the different member when you want to put a separator in the list. So it's not like a straightforward, right? So essentially, I would have to abstract this as the function, right? Up to here. Yes, this is the function. And in this function, do the statement essentially, okay, if my index is 15 or modulo 15, then add another element to this container to have a separator.
Could you not
right?
just?
So,
could you not?
Okay,
not
let me try do it. Yeah.
Yeah,
I have there is a request, so I'm gonna try to do it now.
Okay. Could you also put a decorator around the container? Just decorate the container with a line at the top.
Yeah, but this will decorate every single one. Do you want to have?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I want a separator for each item.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can, yeah.
Yeah, but this would have to be actually around the entire element. So you're asking this to be around every single one.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, that's easier because I can still do it here, because I can do here border, I believe. And this would be decoration. What was it? Was also box decoration?
Jermaine?
Box decoration, and you can specify your border.
Yeah, border, box, border. Uh-oh. No? What parameter goes here? Box border. And box border can be bottom top, Yeah, so I can do bottom, let's say. So box border, and can I do? Why it has strange parameter like title? Am I looking at the right thing? No, that's context index title. Show me this box border. Abstract class shape border, box border, border side. So I cannot actually create here the.
Yeah, it could be the Intellisense. So if you see if you can type bottom, if you start typing bottom, does it appear?
And it was
Also,
what?
if
This
you
was
change
border
border to
side.
border
Yeah,
side, yeah.
yeah, border side, border side.
Everybody, that was Roberta. She will be taking our next session on state management.
Yeah, the parameter is not out.
If you assign border side to, so for border, if you place box border with border side.
Okay. Again, box border inside the border side.
Here's the thing. I think sometimes if you forget, because it's easy to forget, if you hover over box decoration.
Yeah.
So this is a tip for everyone because we forget all the time.
Yeah.
So box
and
border.
then you're able to see what what type of parameters are accepted. So
there's a shape. There's a box border. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's do box border, right?
Yeah. So you can. See box border.
Border.
And if you hover over box border.
And abstract. So it has to be
it's an
specific.
abstract class. So that means that you can't use box border directly. You can only use classes that extend from box border.
Extend it, yeah.
Yeah.
Use border to decide borders, box border.
I believe there's one called
so normally
border.
if you click inside box border,
shape border.
Then you should be able borders. At the top. It will tell you what types, what classes.
Extended.
Yeah. So your options are Swab. If you move your mouse away.
Yeah.
So that they can see. Cool. You got border side, rounded rectangle border, circle border, or box decoration. So what you want to do is if you use border side. So if you copy, let's copy border side. Yeah, I think we can use border side because it extends.
Does it? No.
Yeah. Oh, so go back.
I don't know how to go back here. I know how to do it in Android Studio.
Okay.
You go back. No, go back. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So you see, this is shape border, right? And I don't see.
Oh yeah, sorry about that. Scroll up.
Yeah, so this is abstract. So just for clarification, because we're using funny words that people may not understand. So abstract class is the class that you cannot use directly, but you can extend to do something. And what I'm trying to find is the class which essentially extends it. Find all references. Yay. Okay. Use this abstract class, constant border, add, static, lerp, a, box decoration. Border. Yeah, I don't see any. I don't see any classics.
Jermaine, did you suggest something? Is there a?
I'm curious. Is there a generic border class you can instantiate.
Yeah, probably yes.
Oh,
Yay. Done.
Hey, that's what I wanted.
That was
Excellent.
quick.
Excellent.
That was quick. Okay, what is it? Oh, you see? It's extending. Extends box border. Perfect. Yeah. Yeah, generic
Excellent.
border. Excellent. Good.
So
Yeah,
if we
yeah.
had different names in that, if we had different names in that data list,
Yeah.
it almost looks like a WhatsApp or something. So we could put
Roberta.
exactly. Yeah.
Root head. Yes. Oh, right. Now question, why it doesn't change? Why it didn't change? Because we don't change the state. So imagine, look at, from this, look at this from this side. What you see here is application, which essentially has some binary with, you know, how to draw all these, you know, circles and write all this text and so on. And it has another pile, which is essentially a state of it. So all the things that change and essentially change it. And the only way to force it to reread the data, rebuild everything, is to use this set state method to update it. We don't do that. We don't do this. This is why I've changed the code and nothing happened, because inside this essentially phone right now, it knows that the data is still JSON and not Roberta. Now, for this, I have a restart button. And what the restart does, instead of hot reload, is that the restart will reread all the everything. It will like restart from fresh. It will initialize everything from beginning. So now I'm gonna do this, and I should. Oh, come on. Yes, and now I see it. And this is important because you may end up in a situation that, like me before, I was changing the code in a way that state couldn't support it. So, for example, what you can, so if I, let's say, change the app currently here and change that my user has here some final, let's say, integer, random number, right? And I change all these data here. These changes won't be inside because I haven't essentially reloaded it, right? We statically use this data. This data is completely final, set on the beginning, and we don't refresh it anyway. So it in memory is just one snapshot. In memory of this device, of this phone, is just one thing, and that's it. So yeah, I've seen some question. I mean, come on, more chat. Where's chat?
Chat.
Yeah.
Get chat.
Alt H. Oh, it's hiding somewhere.
Yeah, it's underneath your participants.
All right. Time to wrap up. Okay, thank you. That's very sad. Andre, you're kicking me out.
Good.
Very sad, you know.
This is amazing. Listen, before we wrap up, I just want to make sure, has anybody got any questions that they'd like to ask about what we've covered so far?
You know what? I'm gonna before I you know, when I was preparing for this, I've essentially created the repo. I'm gonna show you right now. Yeah. So if you have a GitHub account, then just go and check it. If you don't, then create your GitHub account. GitHub is good for you. And now you can have a private free repositories. I think this one is open. You should be able to. Is it? This is open. Yeah.
Yeah, it's open.
Yeah, yeah. So this is slightly different app.
Mhm.
I mean, in a different state. So what is important that if you look here, so maybe looking at the tags won't be easy because they might be not sorted by time here, but let's have a look here into commits. Essentially, each commit here is the steps that we were going through here. We are somewhere in here, yeah, and here you have more commits with changing into custom scroll view.
Mm.
Yeah, so this is your homework. Yeah, I won't leave you without a homework. So I'm gonna quickly open another project. Yeah. So, okay, this one is killed. Let's build this one. Start on Pixel. Yeah, so this is what I was aiming for. And of course, it takes longer. But if you don't, you know, like do too far reach goals, then you never achieve anything because you're always underachieving because you think you can actually do less. Okay, come on, show me. Launching. Come on, launch it. So there's a couple of things here which are different. So in this app, so first thing is that I've added safe area. So this is like essentially to have stuff not going into the bars on Android devices. So this is what the safe area. Oh yeah.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
Yeah. So this is, yeah, it's much smoother on a real device. I can assure you that. And this is what the slivers are for. Then allow you to essentially do things like essentially header collapses to this state, and you can scroll the list and go down, and then when you pull it into other direction, it actually expands it. So the things to of notice in this version. So I've already extracted the widget into separate ones, so they are clearer to actually to see. So you can see actually what is there. I've created this header widget, which has all these collapsing stuff in it. So yeah, I've used assets. So like I said on the beginning, then we can add assets to the project. So I've downloaded these ones. These are in a repo. So if you check it out, this code base, that you have all the stuff in it already in this state. But you can always search through Git commits to see the steps how I was building it. So if you essentially go here and go through all these steps, so this is essentially entire lesson from beginning to the end, how to build this app with all the stuff. And sorry for ripping nice pictures from your website.
That's all right, Suave. This was amazing, Suave. What you've done. This was amazing. Thank you very much for leading this session for us today.
Thank
it was
you.
fantastic. Right, we all need to give Suave a round of applause there. Thank you very much.
Okay, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. So before we leave, Roberta, do you want to give? I'm going to get both Roberta and Jermaine to just give a teaser of what's coming up in the next two sessions. So Roberta, do you want to give a little tease on what we expect to see in the next workshop?
Yeah, sure. So for the next workshop, what I want to do is just go into Flutter States in a bit more detail. So what we're going to do is we're going to explain, what are states, a little bit more going through stateful and stateless components. That's what I've touched upon today. And we're also going to be just talking about how to how to share state throughout your app. So the relevance of that is what we want to do is we want to be able to get data from anywhere, which Jermaine would explain more in his session. But what we want to do is we want to be able to make our components change, whether it's like change color, change image, change text, or yeah. So yeah, we're going to be going that in more detail.
So effectively, Roberta's going to be making Suave's app look even more sexier than it is now. Yeah. So this is what we're going to do. State is all about making our apps interactive. It's all about changing what's happening in our apps. It's all about reacting. It's all about our apps reacting to when we do stuff. Yeah. So so this is a really important feature, or state management is a really important feature in app development. Yeah. So let's just switch on to Jermaine now. Jermaine, just give us a brief teaser on what you're going to take us through in session 3.
Yes, in session 3, we're going to be looking at the approaches one would take to develop in an asynchronous manner in the Dart application. So what that means is we will be looking at how we can pull in data from an external server online somewhere, and then we'll be displaying that in our app. So in a Dart application, we'll be in Dart, we have futures and streams. That's the main way of performing these asynchronous type of operations. So we'll be covering that in the basics, and then we'll be using what we've learned to create that solution where we load data from an external API and display it.
So guys, again, this is really, really important. So this is what Jermaine's going to be doing, is focusing on how your app actually interacts with the rest of the world. Yeah. So public APIs are effectively resources that are provided by other systems, and these systems are created by other companies. Yeah. So if you look at BBC, they publish APIs. ITV publish APIs. In fact, any company that you can think of probably has a public API that your app can connect to. Yeah. So this is how your app connects to the rest of the world, the rest of the digital world. So this is now bringing so with these 2 bits that we're going to add in the upcoming series, we're going to bring your app to life. We're going to make it interactive, make it sexy, and we're going to make it talk to the rest of the world. We're going to pull in data from other sources and do stuff with that data in our app. Yeah, so that's where we want to take you to. All right. Okay then, guys. So I think I'm going to just hand over to Ed now to just wrap up the day. Go on, Ed.
All right. Wow. Well, that was really quite a session. I know it's been a pretty blinding 2.5 hours. Brilliant. Really interesting beginning there, learning about the difficulties and challenges of getting your environment set up. Swab, I know it's not the most exciting subject to cover, so thank you for taking us through that, and thank you for everyone for paying attention. And then an absolute roller coaster ride through building an app. I actually got my Jason Halstead's on my screen. Screenshotted it, sent it to Jay. He's seen it, so I did. And I was doing it whilst monitoring the chat and the Eventbrite. And
all right.
So if I managed to do it, you guys can definitely do it. No, that was absolutely brilliant. We will be doing our next session as described on the 4th of August. The Eventbrite isn't up just yet. It will be up very soon. Please do keep an eye on our YouTube channel, where this entire event will be available for you guys to watch back through it. As you've seen in the chat as well, Swab's GitHub is available, and you guys can go there. You can clone, copy, submit a pull request showing where he's got it wrong, right? So there's all sorts that you can do. Please, it's been a fantastic session. We look forward to seeing you as part of our next event in partnership with Kin+Carta. This is part of the 3-part event as described, so there will be more. If you do have to miss one, that's absolutely fine. We will be publishing them on YouTube, and the code will be available on GitHub. Please don't get confused. We have another series running in parallel with this, which is part of our Innovation Labs series. I believe the first event will be running next Tuesday as well. and that's all around building a real app for one of our partners in the music space. And he's also, interestingly, looking for technical co-founders and developers to join him. So if you're interested in doing something along those lines, get involved. Again, you keep an eye on our Eventbrite and our meetup, and you'll see those as we go forwards. Big thank you to Andre, Roberta, Suave, Jermaine, and Jay. Thank you so much today, everybody. It's been a pleasure. We look forward to seeing you at our next session. All right.
Thank you.
Take it easy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Thanks all.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.